If going for promotion means that you are pushing yourself and you're going to have this amazing growth opportunity, yeah, that's going to be scary. And that's okay. That's where the courage comes in, right? That's where courage comes in.
Well, hey there. I'm Liz St. Jean, and this is the Rise in Your 9 to 5 podcast, where I help quietly ambitious leaders who want to have meaningful and fulfilling careers, making an impact in the world. It's where strategy meets intuition to become a better leader with more joy, less stress, and endless impact. So let's break free from perfectionism, imposter thoughts, and that inner rule keeper that keeps you in a career comfort zone. It's time to become unapologetically you and step into the life you are meant to live. We're going to talk presence, productivity, and having it all. Or, as my 4-year-old would say, we're going to take over the world. So let's get to it.
Hey, friend. Now, just before we jump into this episode, I wanted to check if you've had a chance to register for my workshop. I have a 90-minute workshop called Navigating the Quietly Ambitious Path to Promotion. So, this is a great workshop if you are looking for some insight and some tips on navigating that quietly ambitious path. For example, what I hear from a lot of people is that they struggle to speak up about what they've accomplished or what they are accomplishing. And they want to stay authentic and want to stay genuine while at the same time keeping that integrity and moving forward in your career, advancing your career, getting to the next level. So, if that sounds like you and you're looking for more confidence, more clarity around your leadership style, and you're especially wanting to navigate that really delicate balance between humility on one hand and self advocacy on the other, then you'll definitely want to check this out. Head over to themintambition.com/workshop. That's themintambition.com/workshop, and you can get registered for one of the upcoming sessions. Now let's head over to the episode. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the show. And if you remember, this season is all about getting an internal promotion. So if you saw the title of this episode, we are tackling the question, are you ready for a promotion? But we're not going to tackle it in the way that you might have thought we were. So, for those of you who've been around a while, you likely know or you've heard me say it outright that in my coaching, I do a combination of mindset, strategy, and tactics. Because one of my core beliefs is that we need to align them. We need to have our mindset, our strategy, and our tactics all aligned together. We can't just focus on one or the other. Now, the question of are you ready for a promotion? Maybe it sounds more of a strategy question. Maybe it sounds possibly like a tactical question. I'm actually going to look at it through the mindset lens. This may not be new for you, but it may be very new for you. So it's a very interesting question. Are you ready for a promotion? Even if we think of it through the context of where we put our intonation, how we ask the question, okay? Because you can ask it like, are you ready for a promotion? You can ask it like, are you ready for a promotion? You can ask it like, are you ready for a promotion? There's lots of different ways to make it a question. And most of the time, when we think of this question, we're kind of imagining others asking it of ourselves, but it's really ourselves questioning ourselves. So with me for a minute. We we have this internal dialogue. We all have it, some of us to a greater extent than others, but we all have this internal dialogue that kind of questions ourselves, right? We have self-doubt, we have hesitation, we have, the confidence jitters, we feel imposterish. And this is exactly the kind of question that comes up when we're having those types of thoughts. And often, like I said, often we're imagining others saying it to us, but really it's ourselves. So the real question is actually not, are you ready for promotion? The real question, what we're asking ourselves, like the unmasked question is, am I ready for a promotion? And most of the time, there's subtones of questioning, of true questioning. Oof, maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'll stumble. Maybe I'll fall. Maybe I'll fall flat on my face. I remember one person told me that literally that was the words that they used. What if I fall flat on my face with this promotion? And and I think it has a lot to do with that intonation because we're putting so much of the question has to do with, will we be enough? Will we meet expectations? Are we ready? Right? There's a lot of emphasis on readiness. And I mean, we can certainly go down the kind of skills and strategy tactic and talk about how to prepare yourself. We can get into the real nuts and bolts of tactics of exploring. Okay, will you be promoted? Will you pass the interview? Will you get an interview? We can do that. Today, I really want to focus on the mindset aspect of it. So there's a couple of things I want to touch on. So one piece, and this is probably not going to be new. This has been going around the interwebs for quite a while, but this concept that, you know, when there's a promotion opportunity, like when there's a job application, that there's a lot of people who only apply when they meet 100% of the qualifications. Right? And then, there's all kinds of memes about this or articles, and essentially saying that, hey, there's a lot of people who apply when they meet just 50 or 60%, and they'll get the job. So that is certainly one thing to bear in mind, is that we don't have to meet all the qualifications to apply for it and even to get it. So that's one kind of reframe we can do, right? We don't have to meet all the qualifications. And you've probably heard that before, right? Apply even if you don't meet the qualifications. But I know in my community, it's one thing to feel like you don't meet the qualifications, and then it's another thing to be worried or fearful or nervous, whether or not you actually believe it's true, but you're feeling that nervousness about not being ready. So on top of not meeting the qualifications, you're feeling like you might not actually be ready for the promotion, right? So that's a big mindset block in a few different ways. One of them being like it's really difficult to get a promotion if you don't see yourself as ready for it, right? So that's you're going to have difficulties with the interviews and even probably the application process if you're not feeling like you are ready for it, right? So we really want to work on the mindset and having that kind of stronger mindset. And what you really want to have is that courageous mindset, right? You want to have courage going into these situations where you don't necessarily meet all the qualifications. And one other reframe I want to offer for you is when you're thinking about it, you're worried you might not be quote ready. I want you to think about, well, what if you were completely ready? You were absolutely ready. You could step into that role and it would not be a problem. Okay. Some of you might be feeling absolute relief. Some of you might be feeling a hint of relief, but it's interesting to consider if you stepped into a role that you were already ready to do, that role is not going to be much of a challenge, is it? There's not a lot of room for growth if you move into a role that you are already completely, utterly ready to do. So that's another reframe I want to offer. And that goes hand in hand with that courage mindset. The courageous mindset is recognizing when you're going for a promotion, you are going for something new. You are going for something new. And it actually, in my view, I'll offer this up to you. That's actually a good thing that you're not ready. Because if you were completely ready, it wouldn't be a challenge. It wouldn't be new. It would mean that you had grown well out of place of your last position if you were completely 100% ready for a promotion. So I'll offer that to you. Now, the other mindset shift I want to offer goes back to that intonation. Remember, I was saying towards at the very beginning there, pointing out those different ways of asking that question. Are you ready? Or in this case, if we're being honest, we're asking ourselves, am I ready? And if you put the emphasis just slightly differently, it becomes a very different question. So I would offer to you to think about the question being, am I ready for a promotion? And the slight shift there, putting the emphasis on the I, or if we go to the original question, are you ready for a promotion? That puts it in the context of asking whether or not you are ready for the promotion. Is this something you want? Right? You y you don't have to have your skills match 100% to go for something you want. If you are ready for that growth, you're ready for that challenge, you're ready for that next level, then you're ready. And maybe you're not ready, and that's okay too. Maybe there's other things happening in your life right now that when you take the fear out of it and the hesitations and the nervousness, and you just go to you, right? Are you ready? And you look at what you want right now, what how life is right now. Maybe maybe you realize like, oh no, I'm not ready for this right now. It's not the right time, right? But you want to be careful with that, right? You don't want to use that as an excuse where underneath it it's actually more about nervousness and worried about failure. You want to make sure that you're coming from a more grounded place, that you're making the best decision that's going to serve you with the information you have right now and with life circumstances right now, that is the right decision. And even if you're not totally sure, that's okay too, right? If you're not in a place where you're ready to make that decision, but if that is the case, then what I encourage you to do is to at least make the decision to let it go for a little while. Decide to decide later, just so that it's not hanging out in the back of your mind, taking up mental energy. Let it go for a little while. If you are not in a place to make that decision, you can even put down a place marker. You can say, "Okay, I'm going to let this go for a month or 2 months, maybe even 3 months. I'm gonna let this go, and then I'm going to come back and revisit and figure out, okay, where am I at? Am I ready for promotion now? Am I in that place where I'm ready for it?" But what we don't want is to have non-decisions cluttering up the mindset, cluttering up our mental energy. So I want you to let go of that for at least for just a little bit. So, your action step coming out of this week's episode is that I want you to really consider that. Are you ready for a promotion? Is this something that would really serve you, that worth going after? Or is it something you want to put on hold for a little while and give yourself the grace and compassion to recognize, like, oh, no, it's okay. I'm going to put this on hold for a little bit and I'll come back to it. I really want you to dig underneath and do your best to sweep aside some of the fears and the hesitations and to not be making a decision from that place. And that if you are ready for promotion, that you look at it from that courage mindset, that courageous mindset, recognizing that it probably will feel scary, right? If going for promotion means that you are pushing yourself and you're going to have this amazing growth opportunity, yeah, that's going to be scary, and that's okay. That's where the courage comes in, right? That's where courage comes in. So, with that, I'm going to remind you again, we have that workshop. I'd love to see you registered for it. It's at themintambition.com/workshop. And it's all about the quietly ambitious path to promotion. And we do go into mindset, strategy, and tactics in that workshop. So come on over and check it out at themintambition.com/workshop. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, make sure you click to follow the show. This way, you don't have to go looking for the latest episode. I'll come to you. Just click the plus button or the follow, and you'll get the latest episode fresh off the press. Thanks again, and remember that you are amazing. Now get out there and rise.